Folks, I'm here to talk with you today about perhaps one of the most important resources in the game. That is going to be, of course, the gems that you see up here. I made a guide a couple of years ago talking about how to utilize your gems in the game. My opinions have changed a little bit. I feel like the gameplay mechanics have changed a little bit. We have a ton more content to be going through now, so I want to go over this for 2024 and give you guys the most up-to-date guide on how to use your gems in the game and what I think you should be spending them on. Of course, take this with a bit of a grain of salt, because it is going to depend on your account, where you're at, how far into the game, what your goal is for your account, right? That's going to affect it a little bit as well. Real quick, we are close to the 1,000 subscriber mark, of course, on the YouTube channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys want some more Raid Shadow Legends content. I'm trying to do semi-daily uploads at this point just to get some content out there for you guys. So hope you enjoy. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions, feedback, all that sort of good stuff. Let's hop into it. What are we going to be starting with? Well, the first and most important thing to spend your gems on is going to be Masteries for your starter champion. So I'll come all the way down here and find my starter champion. That is going to be Kale. Now, I never actually bought the Masteries for my Kale because I actually picked Gaelic as my starter, oddly enough. I started the game, I didn't do any research on it, I just picked who was the face of Raid. I was like, you know what, this guy's on all the advertisements, he must be pretty good. He wasn't that good, but I went ahead and maxed out my Kale after. I would recommend, though, get the Masteries on your starter. First of all, once you've taken them 6-star, of course. Reason for that being, some of these 6-star Masteries, depending on who you're building and why, mainly probably for damage though, right? Some of these Masteries can be crazy and they can help you out with so much damage in the Clan Boss, and of course Clan Boss is going to help to progress other areas of your account as well, and Clan Boss is going to be a very, very large source of your gems as well in your economy. So it's definitely good to start off having the Masteries done for one champion. It doesn't even necessarily have to be your starting champion. If you started at a point where you have maybe a UDK or a Rathalos or even a Rhonda as your introductory free champions, you could easily get the Masteries for them. I do not recommend getting the Masteries for Adeline here, of course, because, well, she's kind of trash. I did a video breaking her down, but I would not recommend the Masteries for her. You could even get, excuse me, you could even get Masteries for somebody like a Syl if you just unlocked her, right? Overall, just first priority is a Mastery for at least one champion on your account to help carry you through content. That champion's going to depend a little bit on, who you have on your account. Rolling into the next part is going to be the gem mine. So this is going to be it right down here. This thing costs, I believe, 500 gems per level for a total of 1,500 if I'm not mistaken. I know it costs 500 to initially build it. You have 3 levels that you can upgrade it. Once it's fully upgraded, its capacity is 15, and you do actually get 1 gem every 1 hour and 36 minutes. So essentially, if you never collect it, it's going to take 22 hours and 34 minutes for it to fill to capacity. So essentially, rough math, you're getting 15 gems per day completely passively from this gem mine. It definitely pays for itself in a very short period of time, and that is to help accelerate your gem acquisition alongside like your daily quest completion and everything like that. So you're getting pretty much at minimum about 25 gems as a free-to-play player. That's not counting, of course, progression in areas like Curse City, Doom Tower, Clan Boss, all that sort of good stuff. So overall, you're going to get a lot more gems than that, of course. But Gem Mine is definitely the second place that you want to be investing your gems into. It is very, very crucial that you get that as soon as possible. The third place I would say is quite useful is actually going to be the market. The reason for this is because each of the slots to unlock them with gems doesn't cost a whole lot. So don't refresh with gems. That's definitely a waste of your money, but unlock all these slots. The reason for that being, when you are incredibly early game, you can sometimes get some good gear in here that you might be able to use. So something like this, HP and accuracy on a speed set, that might be useful for the first couple days of your gameplay, right? Additionally, you'll be able to get some champions out of this, so mainly just uncommons, and then some commons, so if you're trying to get some champion chase points or something like that, this could help out. You'll come in here quite often as well, and you'll see some mystery shards in here, so the green shards, you want to be grabbing those up whenever you can. It's 5,000 silver, so obviously paying 44,000 for this guy versus opening a mystery shard, there's a clear winner there, right? Because mystery shards cost how much exactly? So 5,000 to buy them, 500 to open them, so 5,500 per champion. That being said as well, more importantly, sometimes you can actually come in here and find ancient shards. So you get, I believe, 3 per month on, so each month you can get up to 3 spawning inside of your market. It's actually very, very nice because sometimes you'll come in here and see that refreshed and you'll have an ancient shard waiting in there for you. I've had 2 ancient shards at once before too, which was pretty cool, but definitely a very good place to invest, that's for sure. Third place is actually going to be, sorry, 4th place is going to be somewhere that I wouldn't really recommend usually, but that's going to be the Sparring Pit. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you upgrade the levels, but I would recommend that you get 1 to 3 slots opened. The reason for that being you can essentially just throw champions in here. You can put in rank 50s that you're trying to level up. You can put in rank 60s, level 60s, sorry, level 6s, my god, 3rd time's a charm, and just put them in here and passively level them up without too much worry. It's also kind of useful because you can basically have high level champions in here, passively gain XP, come in and activate this all during like a champion training tournament or something like that, which can help you out quite a bit as well if you're trying to look for a quick burst of points. It's not going to be a whole lot though. You're getting maybe 8 to 10 points per champion depending on, you know, levels, all that sort of good stuff. So definitely useful though, just to put your champions in here overnight and help them gain some XP. Any sort of XP that they get, so it's not necessarily like they're going to grow this XP bar per se, but you know, it's still useful if you're going to be passively playing. If you're just checking in on your game once per day, or if you're just checking in every couple days, it's nice to have a way to grow your champions in the background essentially. So I do definitely recommend getting 1 to 3 levels, I would say, if that opened up. Next up is going to be something that I actually have not maximized myself, and so that is actually going to be the champion capacity. So you can see that you need to use silver or gems to do this. I would, for the most part, probably recommend using your gems to do it, just because the silver is going to be a little bit more value, especially as a starting out player. So that silver is going to be more useful for things like, you know, upgrading gear, for example, or trying to level up champions for events and those sorts of things. That being said, though, you do have to balance this, so you shouldn't be a level 10 account going in here and fully maxing out all of your vaults just because I said to upgrade them with your gems, right? Some of them can get very, very expensive. And realistically, unless you have an absolute ton of champions like I do, you probably don't really need that space anyways. So take it with a grain of salt, upgrade it slowly, keep progressing. As you can see, I am definitely a late to end game player and I still don't have it maxed out myself, right? So there's definitely a little bit of wiggle room there with this tip. So like I say, kind of approach it at your own caution. The next one I would recommend actually, and this changes from the last time I made this guide, so keep that in mind. The last time I made this guide, I did not recommend doing. I did not. However, I will this time. Shards. Why? What's changed? Well, there are so many champions in the game that it's going to be hard to guarantee that somebody that you get early on is good. And so you want to be investing in champions early on that are going to help you later in the game. So I would say it is acceptable and possibly even recommended in some cases to spend enough gems on shards to get yourself at least a decent epic, or at the very, 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 very bare bones minimum, a couple of good rares that you can invest into, because at the end of the day, all the energy you might spend and everything like that is just going to waste, right? So if you're farming gear but you have nobody to put it on, or if you could, say, for example, push yourself up to, let's go to Dragon Normal here. Let's say you're in a situation where you could push yourself up to maybe Dragon 20, right? So you can get that 5-star gear at least, but you're currently stuck on Dragon 16. However, you just happen to pull a champion from a shard that helps you make that jump forward and makes that progression of your account that much easier. I would say definitely it is okay to spend spend gems on shards to try and get yourself some better champions to invest in, whether it be support champions, damage dealers, or just somewhere in between, right? Like debuffers or something like that. It does not have to be a legendary. It does not have to be any sort of a crazy champion, just something good enough that you're comfortable investing in that champion. I have a few tier lists and everything like that out on my channel that you can check out if you're curious what champions are good. I am probably going to be making a return to my faction tier list as well, so if that's something that interested you guys, make sure to check it out. Next up, though, we are going to be talking about the next way to spend, which is going to be energy/arena refills. So there's actually 2 arenas that you can basically acquire refills daily. So one, of course, is going to be the tag team arena, and some of the rewards in here are really good. So even if you're just starting out, you're going to have direct star fragments in here. You're going to have energy and ancient shard, chickens. You're going to have rare books, which are useful in the early game, not so much in the end game. And then you're going to have champion fragments for the rare champions as well, of course, for the Broadmaw fusion. So it definitely can be worth getting these bars to basically purchase these rewards. It's going to take you roughly 100 days to acquire Drexstar anyways, so it's good that you get on that and start farming it and get him as soon as possible, because he is definitely a good champion that can help you out in places like Spider, Dragon, Doom Tower, all that sort of good stuff. So Drexstar definitely is a good legendary champion. If we come over here to the classic arena, you don't necessarily get the best rewards even for being in, you know, the top end arena, so gold 5 or whatnot, but you do take the arena medals that you have acquired and you come over here into the into the Great Hall, and you can get some pretty impactful upgrades in here. So right now, even since I'm in Gold 5, I get a 22% increase to my attack, defense, and HP. And then you can obviously get things like plus 80 accuracy for all your champions. You can get plus 20% HP on top. And if we go over to some champions here, like let's say Nethril, we look at this, right? We look at, where is it here? It should be on its own thing. No, maybe not. I think Classic Arena, so obviously you have that there. I thought there was a section that said Great Hall. There used to be, I'm pretty sure, maybe not. But Classic Arena, you can see these boosts coming in. That's an extra 320 attack out of a 2900 total. That's a big boost that I'm getting from being at a high rank in Classic Arena. The other thing that's part of this same tip that you'd want to spend it on is, of course, energy refills. We have a ton of areas to be spending our energy on. So depending on what you're trying to farm, you might be going for something like Dragon to get yourself some early gear, some early speed gear. You might be going for Fire Knight to try and farm up that juicy Savage. You might be going for Iron Twins to try and get yourself some Ascensions. You might be going for the Potion Keeps to try and get yourself some more Ascended Champions. You might be going for Minotaurs to try and get yourself some more Scrolls for Champions, especially that Epic that you got by spending gems on them. You might be going for Spider to get yourself some Silver because there's nothing else going on in the game. You might be going for Phantom Shoguns to ascend some of your accessories. You might be going for Sand Devils to try and ascend some of your gear, to get that gear up a little bit more. You might be going into campaign and you might be farming here to get some XP for your champions and level up your sweet, champions that you got from those shards. There's so many areas that we need to spend energy on these days, and you do get daily energy, of course, from doing the Doom Tower here. Quite a bit, actually, if you're doing Doom Tower hard. Obviously, if you're watching this video, though, you're probably not breezing through Doom Tower hard, so I would recommend just pushing up as much as you can. Get that energy each day if it's applicable to you, and then any extra gems you have laying around, if you're not trying to save them, just go ahead, put them into energy and farm somewhere in the game. Of course, this does come with the caveat that you might want to save those gems for energy during a fusion, so you can help to make sure that you get the dungeon divers done. That's a particularly tough one for me all the time. You do also get quite a decent amount of energy from farming City of Centranos as well, so that's definitely a good place to go. What do you guys think? Did I miss any locations in the game? If you think so, let me know down in the comments where you spend your gems, if it's different than what I had recommended. If there's some cool comments down there, I might pin them as well, just so that some new players can get some assistance. As always, thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.